Think Realty Nation, it's your host, Abhi Golhar. Welcome to Think Realty Podcast, the podcast you need to be paying attention to like all of the time. So let me tell you something. The show is going to be awesome. We're talking about the market in St. Louis, Missouri, my old stomping grounds. After I graduated from Ann Arbor, Michigan, I moved to Lincoln, Nebraska, and then finally to St. Louis, Missouri. And so we'll talk about some of the opportunities there as well. Then I have an awesome interview with Jay Connor. We're talking about private money and what you need to do to go out and get the money for your deal. So we're talking about that today. Also, the 5 things that you need to know about turnkey real estate investments, and we'll end off with how real estate investors can make the most money flipping houses. That's what's coming up on the show today. It's something, some topic may resonate with you, some topics won't. But you know what? That's okay. The more that you listen to this, the better of an investor that you'll become. Let's go ahead and get started. This podcast is brought to you by Roofstock. If you're ready to buy your next investment property, then check out Roofstock, the #1 marketplace for buying and selling single-family rental homes. Featuring tenant-occupied rental properties for sale in over 20 states, Roofstock makes it easy to invest in cash-flowing real estate outside your local market. And to help you invest remotely with confidence, all properties are backed by Roofstock's industry-leading 30-day money-back guarantee. Sign up for free today to find your next cash-flowing rental property at roofstock.com/thinkrealty. Let's start talking about St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis, Missouri. Here's what you need to know about St. Louis, Missouri. 2.8 million people in the St. Louis metro. Median household income roughly about $60,000 a year. 4.5% unemployment rate, which is a little higher than some of the cities that we've analyzed. Median home price about $127,000 with a median monthly rent of $1,185 every single month. St. Louis is the 21st largest metro area in the country, and the opportunity in St. Louis is kind of interesting to me. You're looking at affordability, so St. Louis is a very affordable market. Another positive factor for investors is that renters in St. Louis make up 32% of the overall market, which is great. Young, educated millennials live in St. Louis, so that also helps that rental bottom line. Now, I will say over the last couple of months, the city of St. Louis has talked about offering homes for $1. And you know what that means? There is opportunity, but you do want to make sure that you follow all of the rules. Otherwise, the city will take back your property. And quite frankly, that can be a little annoying too, right? Buying homes for $1. Detroit tried this. Some of it worked, some of it didn't. So I'm interested to see what happens with St. Louis. Again, great show today. We're talking to Jay Connor. Private money, hard money, raising capital, you. Let's rock and roll. All right, Think Realty Nation, we're talking about private money and what it takes to raise capital for your deals. With me now is Jay Connor, who has mastered the art of raising capital for his deals. He's been doing so for quite a while. I had the opportunity to read about this gentleman a little while ago. Actually, this is not the first time that I've come across his name, and I'm excited to be interviewing him. So Jay, first of all, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you so much, Abhi. I appreciate you having me on.
Hey, my pleasure. So give us a little background on who you are, what you do, and your inspiration for getting into this world.
Sure. Well, I was actually raised in the manufactured housing or mobile home business, if you would. My wife, Carol Joy, and I live here in Eastern North Carolina. And so up until about 15 years ago, I was in that business. And the majority of the consumer financing was just pulled from the industry to where there's no financing for manufactured homes. So I've been around housing all my life. And so I started investing in single family houses 15 years ago, and I'll be the first 5 years of being in the business. I relied on local banks, traditional mortgage companies. And so approximately 10 and a half years ago, I called up my banker, and I had this conversation with him many times before. Told him I had 2 deals under contract representing over $100,000 in equity and profit. And I learned on that phone call I had been cut off from the bank with no notice. And I wish I'd known that before I had all that earnest money put down. But anyway, I had a perfect credit score, Abhi, never late on payments. But my definition of coincidence is God's way of staying anonymous. And so in less than 2 weeks, I was introduced to this wonderful world of private money.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking hard money. I'm not talking hard money.
Okay.
I'm talking private money, doing business with individuals. And since that time, I've never missed out on a deal because I didn't have the money. In less than 90 days from learning about private money, I raised $2,150,000 in funding. So the first 12 months after being cut off from the banks, we actually tripled our business. So right now, what does our business look like? We do 2 to 3 deals a month. Average profit is $64,000 per deal. And I'm in a small market. So my total market's only 40,000 people. So I'm a testimony to the fact you don't have to be in a big market to make big money.
It's interesting how now a lot of the big funds and a lot of the big players are going to these smaller markets, right? Like what's small is what's hot right now. It's kind of interesting the way that's been working. So your business today, you're flipping 2 to 3 projects a month, and you're really crushing it. What does it take to get involved in the private lending piece? Now, how do I go out and raise money? And I know that you have a course on this, which our listeners and our viewers may have a small benefit to maybe get something for you from free today. I think that's what you may have said before we started. So that'd be really cool to learn how to do that.
I've got a free on-demand course, online course that I'll give out the special link for the Think Realty audience when we finish up. But how do you get private money? There's 2 main categories on where you do business. Now we're talking about doing business with individuals. So one category, Abhi, is what we call your warm market, people that you have some kind of influence with, you have some kind of relationship. They're in your cell phone, they're in your email, they're in your Facebook, and I don't mean fake Facebook friends, but your real Facebook friends.
Right. Because I got all those. I got all the fake Facebook friends. Like I have an entire bucket for those guys, right? Like, okay, the fake ones and then the ones that like I follow, which are like maybe 4. Like,
That's right. So you've got your warm market, and then there's 3 categories, Abhi. The second, and I teach my students this, some of my students will say, well, Jay, all my people are broke. I don't know anybody with money. Right. I teach also how to expand your warm market, how to go to where the money is, getting involved in civic groups and et cetera. The third category are what we call existing private lenders. And so when I started 10 years ago, I hired my real estate attorney's paralegal to search public records every month, looking for individuals that were loaning money out securitized by real estate. And we only found one person in 90 days in my small little market. So we developed the private lender data feed, which we update every month, and it gets about 12,000 closings a month all across the nation. And so we have their contact information, so you can contact existing private lenders as well.
That's really neat. Like that's gold too. Like for all the investors out there that are looking for deals, and you're like, well, looking for capital, excuse me, and you're like, well, geez, I have a deal on the one side, and I don't have enough capital on this side. How do I go out and make that happen? I mean, Jay's list is one that's like a secret nugget that I haven't even heard about. I didn't even know you had, so I'm subscribing. Like that's like a
there you go.
That's like a duh.
There
like,
you go.
You've got to do that.
Absolutely. And I'll be in the time. I know we've got a short amount of time together, but if time allows, I'd love to take a moment whenever you say and really lay out the differences between hard money and private money.
Yeah, let's take a moment to do that now. That was actually that was coming up in my list of questions. I have all my questions here for you, but I think that sometimes there's a little confusion, especially for your new folks that will say, well, okay, I've got my hard money lender. So I've got Bank of America, which is not a hard money lender. That's very conventional financing. And then I hear about hard money, and then I hear about private money. What are the differences between hard money and private money?
Perfect. So most of the time, a hard money lender is a broker, is a middle person that has actually gone out and raised private money from individuals, and then they're making money on the money by brokering it out. So here are the main differences. The first big difference is interest rate. Right now, and interest rates are all over the board with hard money lenders. but the average interest rate right now across the nation is 14% from a hard money lender.
Oof.
From private money, it's between 7 and 8%
Even
doing
better.
business with the individuals.
Yep.
All right. So first is interest rate. Second are origination fees or points. All right. So hard money lender, your average points are going to be around 4% or 4 points. So now you're up to 18% on average the first year. In the world of private money, there are no points. There's no origination fees. The third big difference is extension fees. So, most of the time a hard money lender is going to structure a loan either 6 months or 12 months. And they'll extend your note if you've made your payments on time, but they want another 2% on average. Yep. So now you're up to 20% for the year. In the world of private money, there are no extension fees. If you haven't cashed out, then the private lender is happy to extend. That's another big one on the term, and that is, or the length of the note. If you're using investment capital from the private lender, the notes average 2 years long. If it's coming from a self-directed IRA or retirement account, it's 5 years long. Another big difference, and this is huge, and that is what's the maximum percentage of the purchase price that the hard money lender and a private lender will loan you. Mm-hmm. So regardless of how good the deal is, what's the most they'll give you at purchase? Well, on a hard money lender, the national average is 80%.
Yeah, all right? That's right.
Some are 90%, none are 100%, some are 65%. Private lenders will give you 100% of your purchase price and also a 100% of your rehab money. So another big difference is your credit. Your hard money lender is going to pull your credit. Private lenders, they never pull your credit. There's never any verification of income. Private lending, there's no limit to the number of deals or lenders you can use. So the world of private money doing business with individuals is just so much more easier, simpler. Here's another big one. Close quickly. Your average hard money lender is going to take about 3 weeks because they are going to order an appraisal most of the time. In the world of private money, I can close literally in 7 days. I just closed a deal last Friday. We never even heard of the seller until the previous Friday, 1 week before. Another investor had offered $145,000. We got the deal for $100,000 because we could close in 7 days. And moving fast was so important to the seller because they were going to lose out on their dream home that they had under contract to purchase, but they had to get their current house sold very, very quickly. So private money is the way to go. It's so much easier and simpler and faster.
So I'm with you on that. I mean, it seems as though you've got the entire hard money piece. Like you said, a national average 14% interest. You're also looking at paying a couple points. Extension fees can range, right? You might be paying a point for every 6 months. Sometimes it's 2 points for every 6 months. Sometimes there are prepayment penalties. You got all this stuff baked in, and these are just fees for money just being out already. So
that's correct.
I can see private money really having that impact. So let's take a test case scenario. Let's say that, Jay, I found you're a private money lender and you live a little outside of Atlanta, and I drive over, we meet at a meetup. You say, hey, you know what? I may or may not have some funds available, because it's never that easy, but sometimes, you get lucky in a conversation. And then I say, well, Jay, what do you think about this deal? But I'm not really prepared for that conversation. What do I say to a private money lender to get them to believe me, to get them to say yes to the deal, yes to the transaction, and yes to the terms? Because that's a very important negotiating tactic, I'm sure, as well.
I'm so glad you asked that question, Abhi, and here's why. When I am visiting with a new potential private lender for the first time, I never talk about my program, and that's important. When you're a real estate investor and you're doing business with the warm market, you need to know what your program is. You see, that's another big difference. When you borrow money from the banks or the hard money lenders, they set the program, they set the term, they set the rules. In this world of private money, we make the rules. So you need to know what your program is. What interest rate are you offering? What's the length of the note? How can they get their money back in case of an emergency, et cetera? So you got to know your program. So here's the deal. When I'm visiting with a new potential private lender for the first time, I never present my program and a deal in the same conversation. If I do that,
interesting.
If I do that, I'm going to confuse the potential private lender, and I'm asking the private lender to make too many decisions. Now, I may have a deal under contract on the shelf that I need to fund, but I'm not bringing that up in conversation. All I want to do is talk about the program. And do you know what, Abhi? I have yet to ask anybody for money. I don't ask for money. I present my program, and if they're interested, they're going to let you know. I'm just sharing information. I frame and present myself as an educator.
I love that.
So I'm educating people on what this world of private money is about.
Yeah.
Okay. So I get them to buy into the program. They like the program. All right. I find out what range of investment they've got to work with. Is it investment capital? Is it retirement funds? If it's retirement funds, then I'm going to need to educate them on what a self-directed IRA is, because they've never heard of what a self-directed IRA is.
That's right.
So they buy into the program. Once they're on board with the program, now I have a deal. So guess what? I don't call them up and tell them about the deal and ask them if they want to do the deal. That's stupid. I'm not going to ask them if they want to do the deal. Of course they want to do the deal. They already told me they like the program.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bring them a deal that doesn't fit the criteria of my program. So I just call them up, and you got to do it fast. I call it because it'll disappear on you. I call them up and I say, hey, I got great news. I've got a deal that we can do together that fits the criteria of the program. And I only tell them 4 things. Here's where it's located. Here's the after repaired value. Here's the funds required to fund the deal. I already know they got that many funds because they told me. And here's the closing date as to when you need to have your funds wired. There's no asking. There's giving instructions.
So here's a question for you. What about those guys and gals out there that will pitch a deal and say, all right, Jay, here's the deal. Here's the location. Here's the renovation budget. And then I'm going to spend time with you on the phone for 45 minutes going line by line on this budget. And then guess what? There's more, right? Like it just keeps going like an infomercial on this deal. And I've lent capital before, and I'm like, the more you talk to me, the less inclined I am to give you money. And it's just like, now I'm just counting the clock.
The private lender could care less.
Right.
They could care less.
Yeah.
They could care less how much the hot water heater and how much the landscaping and how much the flooring.
Don't care.
Hey,
right.
I don't care.
Right.
Me, and I'm a private lender myself. I work both sides of the business.
Right.
I just want to know what's the value of that house. I'm not going to loan more than, and in fact, I tell my private lenders, I do not allow my private lenders, you notice the positioning there.
Yeah.
I do not allow my private lenders to loan me more than 75% of the after repaired value on a property.
Yeah.
And so, those are the only 4. And look, here's the deal. After I've done 1 or 2 deals with a new private lender, they don't even want to know those 4 things. They could care less where the property's located.
Yeah,
they could care less so how much do you need and when do you need it there?
Right, that's it. Those are the 2 questions. That's right. Then it becomes...
That's called relationship.
So last question for you. I know we got to kind of wrap this up here. A last question for you. If I'm new, right, and I'm looking at this and I'm paying attention and I think, okay, I don't know why I haven't heard of Jay Conner, so I got to go to jayconner.com, right? So that's like the one first call to action, right? Go to jayconner.com. The second call to action is I found a deal and now I need money for it. What are like the top 3 things I got to do? Do I have to go out and create an LLC, get a business card, get a GoDaddy website, or maybe like a Wix.com, like a Facebook profile, Facebook page, Twitter profile, LinkedIn header, picture, photo shoot? I got to get my hair done. I got to put gel in my hair so the photo shoot looks good. Maybe a good set of pearly whites like you got, Jay. I mean, what do I have to do, man?
So first of all, there's always going to be plenty of deals.
Okay.
There's always going to be plenty of deals. So I say focus on getting the money lined up. Get your money lined up. So here's what I've discovered is that 87% of for sale by owners will not sell to me creatively. 13% will out of thousands of property lead sheets I reviewed. I mean, I'm closing on a deal tomorrow subject to the existing note. I don't need any private money for that deal.
Right.
Now, if I'm going to do any rehab, I can get private money in a second position, but that's another interview. So anyway, it's only 13% will sell to me creatively with seller financing, subject to lease option, all that. The other 87% require all the money. And of course, if you're going to make offers in the multiple listing service for bank-owned properties, REOs, et cetera, you're going to need the money. So I say focus on getting the money first. So what do you need to do first? Well, first of all, you need to know what your program is that you're going to offer potential private lenders. And I'm going to give out a link to the free class here in a moment. And on that free class, I'll go into detail on that. But
we got 30 seconds.
So don't spend your time going to Staples, getting your office, equipped. You need to know what your program is, and then do my 5 steps. Make your list. In fact, on this online class that we're going to give out for free, I go into the scripting of what to actually say to a potential private lender. But again, we're not chasing, we're not begging, we're not trying to talk anybody anything. We're just putting the word out, and we're attracting the funding. We're not chasing, we're attracting.
I'm with you. I was just thinking, I like that. Chasing, not chasing, we're attracting. Jay, thanks so much. I appreciate it. If I want to get access to that course, how do I do it?
Yeah, just go to www.jayconner.com/think Realty, all one word.
Bingo. Jay, thanks so much. I appreciate you sharing some insights about raising the right capital and really the big difference between hard money and private money. Jay Conner, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Abhi. See you next time.
You got it. Think Realty Nation. We'll be right back. This segment is brought to you by Real Property Management, which is the largest real estate residential property management franchise in North America, managing tens of thousands of properties for individuals, investors, and institutions throughout the country. Learn more at realpropertymgt.com or call 888-806-7088. We're talking about how real estate investors can make the most money flipping houses, and something to kind of take a look at. My good friend Mark Ferguson wrote this article for the Forbes Real Estate Council. He talks about a couple of things here. Generally speaking, you're looking at making about $30,000 on average per flip. So something to kind of take a look at. How do you make the most money? Well, you understand your neighborhoods, you understand your competition, and you do a little bit extra and then charge a little bit of that premium. If you're renting property, throw some cool amenities in there, maybe a U2 laundry service, and you can charge a little bit of a premium for that. So these types of ideas, the better it's going to be for you to make that extra coin on that flip or on that rental. Keep in mind as well that you can use a simpler way of doing a remodel. The simpler the remodels, quite frankly, generally mean that you can make a little more money, especially if you do it right. So kind of keep your time frames in mind here. You want to be using the right materials. You want to have a materials guy or a materials gal. You want to go to your Home Depots. You want to go to CBG. You want to go to Lowe's. You want to haggle as much as you can. But really, where I've seen a lot of good value when doing flips, when I used to do flips, is the following. Go to your neighborhood, go to the neighborhood you're flipping property in, do a proper CMA, tour the homes that are currently on the market, and make those finishings as equal to, if not just a little, like this much, like that much greater than your competition, and I guarantee you'll win. The other thing is, your floor plans, please keep them open, please keep them awesome, and please keep them in mind. This podcast is brought to you by Roofstock. If you're ready to buy your next investment property, then check out Roofstock, the #1 marketplace for buying and selling single-family rental homes. Featuring tenant-occupied rental properties for sale in over 20 states, Roofstock makes it easy to invest in cash-flowing real estate outside your local market. And to help you invest remotely with confidence, all properties are backed by Roofstock's industry-leading 30-day money-back guarantee. Sign up for free today to find your next cash-flowing rental property at roofstock.com/thinkrealty. All right, that's the show today. That's going to wrap it up. I hope you learned a lot from Jay Conner about getting private money and raising money for your deals. He's the king. If you want to get in touch with me, get in touch. Go to www.thinkrealty.com/podcast to hear and watch some of the previous episodes of the Think Realty podcast. And Think Realty Nation, until next time, happy investing.